Good morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube viewers. Good morning, Facebook Nation. Good morning to all people, all colors, all races around the world. Good morning to everyone, men, women, children. Good morning to everyone. Today, I think that the videos are going to have to come a little bit more, but today I'm doing a video, and this video is in response to a comment that my son had posted on my YouTube channel. So normally, like I say, we have our discussions, but like I say, what I put on my channel is nothing less than what I would teach to my own children. So, I'm not here to tell you something that, that hasn't been thought out and something that can't be used in life. So I'm giving another way of looking at situations. So today we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about love. So the reason that this camera is pointing in this direction is because on top of that highway, cars are just flying by. All right, so that means that that bridge is going to represent the world. All right, now this right here, what you see right here, this lake, this waterway, we're not looking at that as water. We're going to say that that is just one big bowl of jello, and all those trees over here are not trees. There's a wall, but this is jello. There's a wall. You got a bridge that people are traveling through. That represents the world. Now, why this water represents jello is because this is what we face when we think about love and relationships and what we experience when we grow up. And the reason, again, for this video is because me as a father to my son, we go through the process where I had to say a lot of the things that I grew up believing, a lot of the things that my was taught through family, through brothers and sisters, a lot of it was bullcrap, and we're in a world where we create situations to be the one up, and that's where love is not love. So let's talk about love, and then what will make sense out of this bowl of jello, that wall that you see, which is the trees, and the world around us that's traveling nonstop, even though we're standing here. Okay, so when we're young, it doesn't matter if you're a man, doesn't matter if you're a woman. When you're young, you say to yourself, when I grow up, this is what I want. I want to be married. I want this. I want that. I want love. I want love. Remember that word I. Remember that word I. Because I doesn't have to do with children. It doesn't have to do with the extending family. I is one person. This is where we can no longer use that word, I love you. We love everything. We love everything, because if you say that I have to take on everything that encompasses you, that is not love. And these are the reasons why a lot of men and women are coming out of relationships to rethink, that dynamic of brainwashing and manipulation that goes on just in relationships, what goes on within families. They're breaking away and they're waking up and they're saying, you know what? I've been going about this all wrong. And instead of looking at I and everything that I have as a compliment to me, I'm looking at I and all of this, that bowl of jello, that wall, and as well as all that has to be a part of me too. So how are you loving the person? How can I say I love you if I have to love you? How can I say I love you? And this is where people get confused, but it's not confusion. It's what my son's comment was about, people that want you to be open, transparent. Now, transparency, number one, is a weakness, because number one, transparency is a weakness, but number two, transparency is a two-way street. And the people who are requesting transparency, because I can say this for myself personally, relationships that I've had, where the woman said, oh, you don't talk enough. But one of the things that I've also learned throughout through relationships, especially the long-term relationships that I had, is there would be times where, the person that I was with was given like a blank stare. Like, what are you thinking? And then it would be like where, I would be just looking just to look to say, wow, how beautiful you are. No, tell me what you're thinking. I know you're thinking something. any person on the face of this earth that is single or in a relationship and not married, most people, even in marriages, you're dealing with wounded people, whether it be a man or whether it be a woman. And this is why I say your realities fall into play. Your realities are so important, because when you say, well, he loves me or she loves me, but they don't want anything to do with my family. And then you'll have friends that come into play, or family that comes into play and say, oh, he thinks he's too good for us, and put pressure for you to bring this person to you. But those people are not sleeping with the person that you're with. Those people are not loving the person that you're with. So, again, it goes back to the I. But now we're going to understand what that bowl of Jello is, which represents this water right here. Now you're looking out and I'm telling you that this is a bowl of Jello. Now I'm bringing you around my social group, whether it be my friends, whether it be my family, and they're all saying the same thing, that that's a bowl of Jello. So again, it's different realities that you're dealing with. And when I say that different realities, is not to say that a person is stupid. It's not to say that a person is dumb. It's not to say that a person is less than you. But what I am saying is that you see this as water, but they see this, or you see this as water. They see this as Jello. So you got a group of people that's telling you that it's Jello. How can you have any kind of balance? How can you have any kind of learning experience, to experience things, to say, hey, you think that this is water, I think that this is, you think that this is Jello, I think that this is water. So can we discuss it? Can we have an open dialogue about it and come to some sort of conclusion? I, myself, as well as you, not the group. And this is what we're doing all too much. It's like almost like what they call gang stalking. It's bringing you into situations where people are trying to prove their point. And, another thing I wanted to say about relationships today is most people ask for more than what they're going to give. And the reason to go back, because like I say, I speak about myself. The reason I'm single is because I know what I bring to the table. And when you have that alpha that comes out of you, again, I wasn't always alpha. I became alpha when I broke away from the relationship that I was in. No fault to that person, no fault to my own. Our realities were far different. And no matter what we tried, our realities could not come together. So to me, why try? And we try and we try and we try. And this is what happens in relationships. We try and we try and we try. Instead of accepting the fact that our realities are different. Because we say, well, I paid so much on this bill, or we got kids together, or, so forth and so on. But no one is discussing love. You're discussing a business transaction. And when you're looking at a relationship today, most relationships are business transactions. So when we delude ourselves, we don't look at the person to say, hey, or we don't look at the world to say, hey, I don't agree with this transparency. We can never have open dialogue, and we can never do this. That's mute. It's mute. It's like talking to that wall over there. Now you understand what that tree represents. We see a tree. They see a wall. So anything that you say, as long as they don't see those trees, they're seeing a wall. And whatever you said hits that wall and bounces back. And now, bouncing back. And the world is going by you. All your youthful years. And, the enjoyment that you get from self-actualization, and this is for everyone that's out there, the enjoyment that I get from self-actualization, knowing who I am, is I don't have to bend down and do backflips for no female. I don't have to sit there and say, hey, look at what I got, let me show you. No, show me who you are. Because I know that I'm a loving, caring person. And if I'm going to love someone, I'm going to love that person. At the age that I am, the person I meet will have already built a life. I have a life. So therefore, I only want to love that person. I don't want to sit there. I don't want to know all the rest of that stuff. I want you to deal with me on a one-on-one basis, because I love you means I love you. Now show me how we can love everything else. And to bring this back, not to prove the point, but to bring this back. I've had long-term relationships, and you know, this is something that my son can attest to because he was with me on this fishing outing. You know, and the woman, you know, I was with when we first got together, you know, I love fishing. So, and I love nature. I love nature walks. That's just a part of me. So it's not like me saying, hey, you know, on Friday I want to go to the bar, or hey, I want to, you know, go and I want to get with all, you know, this group of people. No, I'm a self-thinker. So therefore, if I'm a self-thinker, then I can motivate myself, and I get enjoyment from the things, and you know, being in different places, meeting different people, instead of sitting around in a social group that is not moving anywhere. That's moving. Social groups move nowhere, you know, and we get caught up in this thing where we have to say we have to stay, and we have to, you know, make these things work, and that's another misconception. It is so wrong. That's the dominance that we're seeing going on in the world today. So, but to go back to that outing, we're at a place just like this. So my son was with his girlfriend at the time, and we're fishing. So I come with, you know, with my girlfriend, I come, you know, and we're fishing, and it was like non-stop. Are we leaving yet? You're not catching anything. Are we leaving yet? But you loved this a year ago. You loved this. And everything that I did care about no longer happened, but everything that she cared about happened. And anytime that it was a family function, it was always never happened. And you know, this is why I say that when these things happen, it's not the woman's fault. That's why I don't blame any of the women that were in my life. It was my fault. It was my fault because I did not understand the nature of the wounded woman of today. And they are wounded. So the wounded woman of today is a conqueror. She is trying to over-jump male dominance to say, I feel some kind of way if you don't agree with me. And you have to take a stand. I take a stand. And, you know, let all those beautiful women walk on by. Beautiful women walk by me all the time. Beautiful women try to you know, we can interact and try to be with me. But when it comes to the point where they see that I'm not jumping over hoops, I'm not jumping over hurdles, and they have to show who they are, they're not going to say who they are. They want you to look at what they have materialistically. Not just women, men too. I'm only talking from a male side of view, but men do that to women. It's like, look at what I got. And then you get behind closed doors and the person is everything. You're just disappointed. It's like a movie star, being a fan of a big movie star or a musician. And then you meet that musician. And you come up and you're like, you know, I'm your biggest fan. Can I get an autograph? Can I get an autograph? And that person tells you, get that out of their face. You'd be crushed. But it happens all the time, all the time. You know, so people are not who they are. Everyone right now has put up a materialistic world, a shield. And then on that shield of that materialistic world, they have put requirements upon you for sex. But men of today know that there's housewives out there on eBay working part-time selling their bodies. You know what I'm saying? Whether their husbands know it or not. And it's prevalent around the world, not just here in the United States. So, you know, people are doing it. They'll say, hey, well, you know, I might as well pay for it. I can still live my life. I can still be happy. If I want an escort, I can have an escort go with me to France. I can have an escort go with me to Las Vegas and be one of the most beautiful women in the world. And most people don't know that she's a paid person you're paying to be with you. But men and women, you're also paying. You're paying when these requirements are put on you. Where you meet someone and they say, hey, this is the package that comes with me. This is the package that comes with me. All of this. If you want to be with me. So what I say is to break out of it. You know, not to break out of it, but never, ever in your life, whether it be employment, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a friendship, whether it be your family, if you cannot walk away from a situation for life in order to start a new life, then you will always be in the misery, or you'll always be in the situation that you are. You will never get out of it. And the only way that you can become free is to love yourself. And this is why it's not an alpha mentality that says, hey, you know, show me who you are, I know who I am. It's a self-actualization that I have. I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. So, you know, to go back to, you know, the open dialogue where everything is transparency, I say, why are you having this discussion at all? For anyone, why are you having this discussion? Because if you are doing 50-50, you never bring up those, that never happens. And again, it falls back into conquer. Women of today will choose a man who makes less, and that's a fact. Men of today will choose a woman who makes less money. And what I want to say is, men of today will select women who are less intellectually in tune with themselves. So they pick someone who is less intelligent, whereas a female will pick a man who is less intelligent. And, you know, the way these things work, again, it's like, you know, to conquer. If I can break a person down and I can become the dominant figure, most people walk away once that happens. You know, so it's like, you know, when relationships end and people say, well, you know, but you know, you wanted me to do this, and, you know, you wanted me to do that. And the response that is always there, well, when I first met you, you know, you used to put me in my place, you know, you would just turn around and walk away. You wouldn't give me now you're like weak, you want to talk all the time, but this is the person that they wanted. This is the person that they fought tooth and nail for you to become, and this goes for men as well as women. They fight tooth and nail for you to become this, and then they walk away after you give in. So now you understand that this stuff is, the whole world right now, men and women are wounded. And these wounds ain't, you know, these wounds ain't going nowhere. And it doesn't matter how much you love a person. So you have to understand what your reality is. And that's why it's always important to understand what your reality is. Because again, if your reality is that this is water, but when you're going around your significant other and you're going around that family, they're all trying to convince you that this is a bowl of Jello. You're only hurting yourself. You're only hurting yourself. And, you know, by sitting there playing a game to talk back and forth, you're only bouncing nothing off of nothing, because your words are going straight through that tree. But if that person sees it as a wall, your words are hitting that wall and bouncing right off. And that wall represents relationships. That bowl of Jello represents their social circle, the baggage that comes with the individual that you're with. But one thing I never commented on. The world is still going by. Still going by. So at the end of the day, do you want to be stuck in an unrealistic reality? Not saying for telling people to leave their relationships and stuff like that. I'm saying question the reality of your relationship. Because if you question the reality of your relationship, you're questioning what part of that person actually loves you. Because again, if they bring you into that bowl of Jello, you can't swim. You're going to get eaten alive. But if you are willing to be on that road, they'll fight tooth and nail to keep you there. And that's the reality that we live in. People do not respect anything that is not willing to walk away from them. And it doesn't matter if you've been married 50 years. It doesn't matter if you've been married 20 years. You know, that's why people constantly, you know, renew their vows. That's why people renew their, you know, do things to, you know, spruce up their relationships, because they know, you know, even in marriage, people want to walk away. You know, talk to anyone who's married now, they'd be like, you know, I don't even want to go home. But then again, it's like, you know, you talk to people who are married and you say, hey, you know, come on, let's go fishing. Well, you know, I can't. I got to do the, you know, the family thing. But the same family thing has changed the things that made you happy. And it shouldn't. That family should have become part of the fishing group. You know, yeah, well, I'll meet you on Saturday. I'll just bring the kids over there. Well, no, you said you were bringing the kids to the park. I don't want them fishing. I don't want them getting... But you used to come fishing with me. You enjoyed it. No, you didn't. And this is why you're not allowing the, you know, the children to do this. So, you know, what we're seeing is a rebellion that comes in relationships also. So, you know, time is something that cannot be escaped. I've been single, no lie, you know, because like I said, I know exes of mine watch these videos. I know it to be true. So they know that I'm telling the truth. I have been single over now going on 4 years. Going on 4 years. Well, 4 years now. Going on 5 years. 4 years. Now you say to yourself, I couldn't do that. But I sleep at night. I sleep. Something that, look, like I said, the grinding of the teeth, I leave those there as a reminder of what I went through to become here today, to be comfortable, to be happy, to be free of all the bull crap. And that's where, like I said, that's where the alpha comes in, because a woman knows right off the bat, from the first conversation she's having with a man, if he's alpha or if he's a beta, if she can make him or if she can turn him. And then they'll walk away when they see that they can't. They're like, yo, this guy might be a little bit too strong. I can't do that. However, not that, wait, I'm going to go back. This guy, he might be, a little bit too strong for me to dominate. However, this is the person that I want. But because I can't flip this person, I don't want anything to do with them. I don't want to be your friend. And this is what we find out also, too, that, this women part is on you, too, where a woman is like, oh, hey, I just want to be friends, get to know you. Women, stop lying. Because when a man says to you, hey, I'll give you a friendship, in the 4 years, when I've said that to a female, that, hey, yeah, I'm not looking for anything more, where they wanted to do, do the date thing. And I said, I'm not looking for anything more. I want to take the time to get to know you as a person. So, if you have the time to spare, then, why don't we work a friendship? Never know where it'll go. So they're like, yeah. And then it's no. So you have ulterior motives. And this is what everyone is doing right now. So, for the people that are out there that are looking for relationships, look for the relationship that you have within yourself first. Because this is something that our parents lied to us about, where, they gave us information that was completely wrong, completely false, completely dysfunctional. That's why we have dysfunctional families today. That's why we have, dysfunctional, everything is dysfunctional right now. And we're seeing it across the board, because love, the word love isn't love anymore. The word love is a contractual bond, a business transaction, no more, no less. And for anyone that's out here, fooling themselves into thinking it is, you're only fooling with yourself. So I just wanted to put that out there about, openness and transparency. And I want to leave you with this. Anyone out there who meets someone, for the guys as well as women, your first date, the first time you sit down, you ask that person, what do you bring to the table? Ask them straight out, what do you bring to the table? Because I'm going to answer that question. I just want to hear yours. But now, if you would like, I'll answer first. If you don't want to answer, that's where you're being held to a standard at that point. So anything that person does before you decide to move in together, before you sleep together, if that person is doing things that's questionable from what it is that she says or he says they bring to the table, you no longer care about what they bring to the table. The sex is good. And this is what women know also, because women will sit there and say, oh, no, you're using sex. Everybody's using sex to sell something. Everybody's using something material to sell something. At the end of the day, if you have to do that, we're living, or you, the viewer, are living in an illusion. And an illusion of an unrealistic realization of what you're expecting of the world. Because again, everybody's reality is different. So do your best to match your reality. And when anyone asks you, if you're sitting at a table and say, well, why are you asking me what I bring to a table? Isn't that something to bring to the table? Isn't that something that you should ask later on? And then you're basically saying no. What I am trying to do is to see if our realities match. If what the things that we want in life, if they match, if we're going in the same direction, your likes, your dislikes, just who it is that you are. So when you do these things, not your friendships becomes a relationship. Then that's how you build something. You don't build something to say, hey, look at what I got. If you say, hey, look at what I got, then the person that comes into your life doesn't have to build anything. They want you to keep building while they sit there, because that's how you brought that person along. This is why I say, anyone I meet, and if it's going to be a relationship, what you bring to the table. What do you mean? What do I do? You want to know what I do for work? You want to know what kind of car I drive? You want to know what kind of house I live? You want to know? No. You. What do you bring to the table as a person? Here's that deer in the headlights. There's that deer in the headlights. So, don't get caught up. Every day take some time, even if the people that's in relationships, take some time out for yourself. Take time out, to breathe. And that's not bringing, your significant other with you. Breathe. Just like you allow that person to breathe. Let that person go and breathe. But a true person that wants to go and to breathe and to clear their minds, they'd be here by themselves. They wouldn't be with their friends. They wouldn't be in that boat. They wouldn't run. You say, hey, you want a breather? And then they go and they jump in the bowl of Jello. That's not a breather. So, self-reflection is key. All right? Transparency, that's an illusion. It's an illusion, like that bowl of jelly. It's an illusion. So, with that, everyone, I hope I made sense out of, love and transparency. I'm going to start doing, I think this week, I was going to do one on knowledge, but I see more people are interested in love questions. So I'll probably tap in and add on to some of this video again tomorrow. So with that, everyone, have a beautiful day. And like I said, this is a beautiful place to be. It's peaceful, and nature isn't asking anything from you. And it's quiet. The birds are singing and the fish are sitting there jumping, which I want to fish right now. So everyone have a beautiful day. Have an awesome day. And remember, you can't do good to others unless you are good to yourself. So start with yourself, and then everything else will fall into place. All right? Peace and blessings.